Welcome to the Partnerships in Clinical Trials 2012 podcast series. Today I'm speaking with Craig Lipset, Head of Clinical Innovation for Worldwide Research and Development at Pfizer. In this new role, Craig is working across units and stakeholders to define Pfizer's vision for the future of clinical trials and enabling the initiatives and investments to create that future. Most recently, Craig served as venture partner in Pfizer Venture Investments, Pfizer's VC arm, where he focused on diversifying the company's $15 million annual budget for private investment in the area of diagnostics and healthcare technology. He will be presenting at one of our new featured workshops on virtual clinical trials at the Partnerships meeting. Welcome to the show, Craig. So one of the things I wanted to kind of start off with today was, what is a virtual trial and what is the greatest promise that virtual trials hold for the pharmaceutical industry?
Well, to us, the virtual trial is about really putting the patient at the center of the clinical trial and embracing them as a real participant in clinical research. And so what does that mean to us? I think that historically, clinical trials are very investigator-centric. We choose investigator sites, and then we target and recruit patients who are in geographic proximity of those sites so that they can travel in and out. What we're looking at here is our ability to decentralize that process, to bring the clinical trial to the patient instead of taking that hub-and-spoke approach, and enable participants to join clinical trials from just about anywhere. We're also looking at this as a way to improve our engagement with patients as real participants and partners in the research process, that is beyond pulling data off of a patient to get it into our database, but sharing data and sharing learnings with patients, similar to how patients are looking to be engaged as partners, participants in their healthcare. To us, we believe that this will improve engagement in clinical trials for patients, improve convenience and accessibility. We also think it will improve access for more diverse patient populations to participate, rather than just the patients of elite academic medical centers. Pfizer, we look at this as an opportunity to explore improving quality and convenience because of that type of increased engagement of patients. It's potentially about accelerating the drug development process, but it's really about making this more sustainable. Because as we all know, the way we're doing trials today is largely an unsustainable model.
What is the greatest fear or risk that the pharmaceutical industry currently has with virtual trials?
Well, I think, the initial inertia is simply around change. It's simply around, are we able to do things in such a disruptive model compared to the way we've done studies today? There's certainly a lot of incremental challenges that we've had to overcome for our internal operational teams, our clinical teams, our regulatory and legal teams at Pfizer, as well as to demonstrate confidence to our partners outside, including ethics committees and regulators, to make sure that we can demonstrate that we can implement this type of change while still maintaining our responsibilities, patients, our ethical responsibilities, our legal responsibilities, patients, to ensure that their safety is properly monitored and other aspects of their engagement are the integrity is being maintained. I think, to us, we really look at this initiative as a learning process. How will safety data look different where patients are able to report on a continuous basis, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, online or by phone? How does efficacy look when patients are largely self-reporting? So this is a learning process, and it's important that we continue to view it as that.
Are there certain therapeutic areas that you see are ideal for a virtual trial model, or that maybe that virtual trial models can't adapt to?
There are certainly low-hanging fruit areas initially. So the initial areas that make the most sense are where conditions are largely self-reported, where we currently rely on patient-reported outcomes heavily today. That's why we've chosen overactive bladder for our initial pilot. Areas such as pain also fit very well there. Certainly there are going to be boundaries where drug delivery requires fusion. For early clinical development, where we're still really beginning to understand safety signals, those investigator interactions are going to be very important. But I think that our healthcare data is increasingly digital. It's ubiquitous and accessible to us. I think those boundaries will continue to be extended. What will happen when you and I are able to log in and access our pathology reports, our imaging data from the radiology department at our hospital, and that we're able to log in, authorize, and share that through our personal health records? All of a sudden, we're able to capture trusted clinical data, essentially tracked from its source, directly from the patient, well beyond what just patients are self-reporting, really enabling patients to authorize and share trusted health data from their electronic health records.
How are the patient recruitment and retention strategies different in a virtual model than in the traditional model that's being used right now?
This approach really is very much web dependent. We are primarily trying to reach the patient online. It's great in that we don't have geographic constraints, but we may lose those opportunities to capture referrals from physicians. So we are working to engage with physician groups as a vehicle for reaching out to patients to participate in this model. We're also being creative in using electronic health records that exist today as ways to help facilitate that engagement with physician groups to reach out to patients who may be eligible.
And what sort of technologies need to be in place in order for a virtual trial to be able to happen? What has Pfizer done under this pilot program?
Well, what's great to us is it's not even so much about what technologies need to be necessarily created. It's really about what technologies simply need to be repurposed, from ePro to telemedicine and remote patient monitoring to tapping into health information technology, as I mentioned. In large part, it's less about creating new technologies and more about the trends around patients in healthcare that are already engaging and using these technologies. So I'd say the biggest trend that's helped to enable this pilot is not some new technology that was created, but the trend whereby patients are engaging with these tools that exist in new ways and at new levels. So the fact that patients are online looking for health information, engaging with one another, sharing their health stories online, that's sort of the big trend that enables this model to move forward.
And in order for the virtual trial model to be adopted by other companies other than Pfizer and for it to really become prevalent in the industry, what do you think needs to happen?
Well, we've been pretty transparent that certainly Pfizer doesn't feel they own this model, and in fact, it's not in our interest for it to be in any way proprietary. We think we have a competitive advantage in that we will have been the first to have done this. We'll have figured out how to operationalize it within our company, and that will help us going forward. But we know that there are many other pharmaceutical companies that have reached out and engaged with us that are very interested in going down this path, and we would actually welcome the opportunity to work collaboratively with those pharma companies in engaging regulators in the U.S. and Europe and beyond to talk about their level of comfort and any other concerns they may have as we aspire to see this model proliferate in the U.S., begin to pilot in other regions of the world.
And when do you expect to see some results from the pilot program that you can share with the industry?
It'll be about a year before we'll really see the big results as far as understanding how efficacy and safety data differ when benchmarked against some of our historical studies with this particular drug, Detrol LA, and this indication, overactive bladder, where it's been approved for several years. But some of the data is a bit more continuous. We are monitoring various recruitment channels online and making adjustments in real time. So some of the learnings are a bit more continuous, whereas most of the big top-line results will take about a year before we'll gather those learnings.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all of your insights today. We'll talk to you soon, Craig, to kind of get updates on some of the results that are rolling in with the metrics on the virtual clinical trial model that Pfizer's implementing and some of the collaboration that's happening with the industry. The 21st Annual Partnerships in Clinical Trials event will be held March 5th to 7th, 2012 at the World Marriott Center in Orlando, Florida. For more information, please visit www.clinicaltrialpartnerships.com. We'll be seeing you there, Craig, and we hope to see everybody there as well. Goodbye.